Most people read the 48 Laws of Power like it's a novel. They highlight a few passages, nod along, and put it on their shelf. Meanwhile, billionaires use these laws as operational manuals. Here's what nobody tells you. You don't need all 48 laws. Most are situational or outdated for modern wealth building. But there are 7 specific laws that appear repeatedly in the playbooks of the ultra-wealthy. 7 laws that, when mastered, create almost unfair advantages in business and wealth accumulation. I'm going to show you exactly which laws billionaires actually use, how they use them, and the price each law demands. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. Robert Greene wrote, "Everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Stand out, be conspicuous at all costs. Make yourself a magnet of attention." Most people think this means being loud or constantly posting on social media. That's not what billionaires do. They understand that attention is modern currency, and whoever controls attention controls markets. Elon Musk is the master. Every tweet, every appearance, every provocative statement captures attention. When he smoked weed on Joe Rogan's podcast, Tesla's stock dropped, but the attention generated was worth billions in free marketing. When he bought Twitter and renamed it X, analysts said he destroyed value. But he generated more attention than any advertising campaign could achieve. Musk understands that in a world of infinite information, attention is the scarcest resource. When he talks about Mars colonization, he makes SpaceX the most talked about aerospace company on Earth. When he fights with the SEC, he keeps Tesla at the center of cultural conversation. Here's the sophisticated play. Musk uses controversy as an attention engine. Half the world thinks he's a genius, half thinks he's reckless. It doesn't matter. Both sides can't stop talking about him. Every conversation about Musk is a conversation about his companies. Compare this to Tim Cook at Apple. Competent CEO, completely forgettable. Apple has incredible products, but Cook generates zero cultural conversation. Apple's brand power is a legacy of Steve Jobs, who was a master of Law 6. Jobs orchestrated product launches like religious events, creating mystery and anticipation. The wealth application is direct. Attention translates to valuation. Tesla is worth more than all traditional automakers combined, not because they produce more cars, but because they have more attention. Attention from investors, customers, and media creates a gravity well that pulls in capital, talent, and opportunity. Richard Branson built Virgin through attention-grabbing stunts, hot air balloon races, appearing in commercials, creating brands in random industries. But every stunt was strategic. He wasn't trying to be famous. He was making Virgin synonymous with bold, anti-establishment entrepreneurship. The dark side. Once you court attention, you can never stop. The moment you go quiet, you become irrelevant. You're trapped in perpetual performance, always needing to be more outrageous than last time. Your private life essentially ends. Every mistake is public. But if you're willing to pay that price, Law 6 is non-negotiable for modern wealth building. In an attention economy, obscurity equals poverty. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. Greene's formulation. All great leaders since Moses have known that a feared enemy must be crushed completely. If one ember is left alight, a fire will eventually break out. The enemy will recover and seek revenge. Crush him, not only in body, but in spirit. This sounds barbaric. It is, but it's also how every major monopoly was built. John D. Rockefeller didn't just compete with rival oil companies. He systematically destroyed them. Standard Oil would undercut competitors' prices until they bled money, then buy them out at pennies on the dollar. If they refused to sell, Rockefeller would buy their supply sources, bribe their employees, and make their transportation costs prohibitive. He didn't leave wounded competitors limping along. He obliterated them so completely that new entrepreneurs were terrified to enter the oil business. That fear became a moat around Standard Oil's monopoly. By 1911, Rockefeller controlled 90% of American oil refinement. Amazon and Jeff Bezos follow the same pattern. When Amazon identifies a successful product on their platform, they copy it, undercut the price using their logistics advantages, and feature their version prominently in search results. The original seller is crushed. When Amazon entered books, they used predatory pricing for years until physical bookstores couldn't compete. Borders went bankrupt. Barnes & Noble barely survive. The same pattern repeated in cloud computing, streaming, groceries. Amazon enters, undercuts, and crushes. Bezos reportedly said, "Your margin is my opportunity." Translation: if you're making profit in a space I want, I'll eliminate your profit until you die. The logic is brutal but clear. A weakened competitor will eventually recover, and remember you tried to destroy them. Better to finish the job. Mark Zuckerberg applied this with Instagram and WhatsApp. When these platforms threatened Facebook, Zuckerberg bought them. When Snapchat refused to sell, Facebook copied their features and integrated them into Instagram, attempting to crush Snapchat's growth. Sometimes crushing isn't direct destruction. It's making competitors irrelevant. Netflix didn't crush Blockbuster through competition. They made Blockbuster's entire business model obsolete. Apple didn't just beat BlackBerry. They rendered physical keyboards irrelevant with the App Store ecosystem. The dark side. Law 15 creates permanent enemies. Rockefeller was hated with an intensity that's hard to comprehend. He needed bodyguards for life. Bezos is arguably the most criticized billionaire alive. The brutal Amazon warehouse conditions, the destruction of small businesses, all connected to his application of Law 15. And you can't crush everyone. If you try to apply Law 15 everywhere, you'll spread too thin and create too many enemies. Billionaires are selective. They identify existential threats and apply Law 15 there. For minor competitors, they use other strategies. But when crushing is necessary, they do it completely. No mercy, no half measures, total annihilation. That's how monopolies are built. Law 3, conceal your intentions. Green, keep people off balance by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they have no clue what you're up to, they cannot prepare a defense. By the time they realize your intentions, it will be too late. When Jeff Bezos was building Amazon, he told everyone Amazon was a bookstore. Books were just the beginning. He wanted the everything store, but he concealed that intention for years. If Walmart and Target knew Amazon's true ambition was to dominate all retail, they would have crushed Amazon while it was vulnerable. By the time they realized, it was too late. Amazon had the infrastructure, customer base, and capital to compete anywhere. Warren Buffett operates the same way. Berkshire Hathaway makes investments quietly, often building substantial positions before filing public disclosures. By the time the market knows Buffett is buying, he's already acquired a significant stake at lower prices. When Buffett wanted to buy BNSF Railway, he spent months quietly accumulating shares before making his takeover offer public. If he'd announced his intention up front, the stock price would have spiked, costing Berkshire billions more. Elon Musk concealed his intentions buying Twitter. He first bought shares quietly, then filed as a passive investor, then suddenly made a takeover bid. By the time Twitter's board understood his real intention, they had limited defense options. But Law 3 goes deeper than business moves. It's about concealing your ambitions, strategies, and beliefs. Mark Zuckerberg spent years saying Facebook was about connecting people. That was the public story. The concealed intention was building an advertising monopoly that harvests user data at scale. By the time regulators understood Facebook's true business model, Facebook had billions of users and was too big to regulate easily. The sophisticated play: give people a benign explanation for your actions while pursuing a much larger, hidden agenda. Let them believe you're playing a small game while you're actually playing for total domination. Steve Jobs concealed Apple's intention to enter the phone business for years. When the iPhone launched in 2007, it caught Nokia, Motorola, and BlackBerry completely off guard. They had no prepared defense because they didn't know the attack was coming. Concealment isn't lying, it's strategic ambiguity. You don't make false statements, you just don't volunteer complete truth. You let people make assumptions and don't correct them. The dark side: you become comfortable with deception by omission. Your employees don't know the full strategy. Your investors don't know your complete intentions. This creates profound loneliness. You can't share your true intentions with anyone except a tiny inner circle. You're always performing, always concealing, always maintaining the deception. And there's risk of exposure. If your concealed intentions are revealed prematurely, you lose your advantage and gain a reputation for deception. But despite the risks, Law 3 remains essential. In a competitive environment, telegraphing your intentions is suicide. Concealment creates surprise. Surprise creates advantage. Advantage creates wealth. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Green. If you're unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes committed through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Everyone admires the bold. No one honors the timid. When Elon Musk started SpaceX, aerospace experts said it was impossible for a private company to build competitive rockets. The failure rate for private rocket companies was nearly 100%. Musk had no aerospace experience. He did it anyway with extreme boldness, not just trying to build a rocket, but specifically targeting reusable rockets, which the industry said couldn't work economically. When the first 3 SpaceX rockets failed, he didn't scale back. He doubled down, using the last of his money for a 4th launch. That launch succeeded. The boldness of the attempt attracted engineers who wanted to work on impossible problems, investors who wanted to back audacious vision, and media attention. The boldness itself became an asset. Richard Branson launching Virgin Atlantic to compete against British Airways had no airline experience. British Airways had dominant market share and government backing. He did it anyway, boldly. Virgin's first flight was marketed as BA Can't Get It Up, a provocative attack, positioning Virgin as the exciting alternative. Reed Hastings at Netflix boldly pivoted from DVD rentals to streaming, cannibalizing Netflix's own profitable business model. Analysts said it was corporate suicide. Hastings did it anyway with total commitment. That boldness allowed Netflix to dominate streaming, while Blockbuster hesitated and failed. Here's what Law 28 means. Once you commit, you must commit completely. Tentative execution is worse than not attempting. Timid moves signal weakness, inviting attack. Bold moves signal strength, often causing competitors to hesitate, even when your actual position is weak. When Amazon was burning cash to build market share, the boldness of their expansion made competitors assume Amazon had unlimited resources. Many withdrew rather than compete. The appearance of unstoppable momentum became self-fulfilling. Boldness changes how others perceive you. Timid players get attacked. Bold players get respected and feared, even when their actual strength is uncertain. But here's the key. Boldness must be backed by competence. Recklessness that looks like boldness will destroy you. True boldness comes from conviction based on analysis. Musk's boldness with SpaceX wasn't blind recklessness. He spent months studying rocket science and understanding why previous companies failed. His boldness was informed. The dark side. Bold moves often fail spectacularly and publicly. You don't just lose money, you lose reputation. You become a cautionary tale. Masa Song's bold investments in WeWork lost SoftBank tens of billions. The boldness that made him a legend after Alibaba made him a punchline after WeWork. And there's the psychological burden. Bold action requires tolerating enormous uncertainty and stress. The fear is constant, but you must suppress it and project total confidence. Despite the risks, billionaires consistently choose bold action over timid half measures. Because timid moves generate mediocre results at best. Bold moves either create breakthrough success or spectacular failure, but at least you get a clear result. Better to fail boldly than succeed modestly. That's Law 28. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Green. Everyone has a weakness, a gap in the castle wall. That weakness is usually an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion or need. Once found, it is a thumbscrew you can turn to your advantage. When Steve Jobs wanted John Scully to leave Pepsi and become Apple's CEO, he didn't offer higher salary. He found Scully's thumbscrew, his desire for legacy. Jobs asked, "Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or come with me and change the world?" That question identified Scully's insecurity, that despite his success, he wasn't doing meaningful work. Jobs turned that thumbscrew, and Scully joined Apple. When negotiating acquisitions, sophisticated buyers research the founder's personal situation. Going through a divorce and needs cash? That's a thumbscrew. Ego tied to staying CEO? Offer a chairman title? Thumbscrew. Worried about employees? Promise employment guarantees? Thumbscrew. Warren Buffett is famous for this. When buying companies, he often pays premium prices, but structures deals to appeal to founders' specific needs. Some want to preserve culture, so Buffett promises minimal interference. Some want liquidity for family legacy, so Buffett offers immediate cash. He finds each seller's thumbscrew and applies pressure precisely where it matters. When Elon Musk wanted to buy Twitter, he identified the board's thumbscrew: fiduciary duty to shareholders. By offering a significant premium, he created a situation where refusing exposed board members to shareholder lawsuits. They didn't want to sell, but he'd found their legal liability thumbscrew. Billionaires manage employees the same way. They identify individual thumbscrews. One executive is motivated by prestige, give them impressive titles. Another by intellectual challenge, give them impossible problems. Another by financial security, give them equity. Jeff Bezos has an obsession with understanding customer motivations. Amazon's entire business model is built on identifying customer thumbscrews. Convenience, one-click ordering, low prices, comparison tools, certainty, free returns, speed, prime shipping. Amazon found the thumbscrews and built services to exploit them. The dark insight. Once you identify someone's thumbscrew, you have power over them. That power creates temptation to exploit beyond what's ethical. The line between understanding motivations and manipulating vulnerabilities is thin. Becoming skilled at finding thumbscrews makes you cynical. You start seeing everyone as a collection of insecurities to exploit. You lose the ability to have genuine relationships because you're always analyzing, always looking for leverage. And there's paranoia. If you're constantly looking for others' thumbscrews, you assume they're doing the same to you. You become guarded, unwilling to reveal anything that could become a vulnerability. But despite the costs, Law 33 remains essential. In negotiations, whoever understands the other party's true motivations has enormous advantage. Finding thumbscrews is the difference between mediocre influence and masterful persuasion. The key is maintaining ethical boundaries. Find the thumbscrew, but use it to create win-win outcomes, not exploitative manipulation. Make it a fair trade, not a hostage situation. But you need to find the thumbscrew first. That's how influence works. That's how deals get done. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Green. When trying to impress with words, the more you say, the more common you appear. Even if saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it vague and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you say something foolish. Warren Buffett's annual letters to shareholders are masterclasses in this. He could write hundreds of pages. Instead, he writes 10 to 15 pages of highly curated thoughts. Every sentence is considered. Because he says less, every word is scrutinized by thousands of investors. If Buffett wrote 200-page reports like most CEOs, his words would lose power. The scarcity of his communication makes it valuable. Steve Jobs' product launches had remarkably low word counts, long pauses, silence for emphasis. One more thing. 3 words that became iconic because Jobs said so little that each phrase carried enormous weight. Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Google are famous for being nearly silent in public. They rarely give interviews or make public statements. When they do speak, it's news. The scarcity makes their words valuable. This law has deeper strategic application. Saying less prevents commitment. The more you talk, the more you lock yourself into positions and create expectations. By saying less, you maintain flexibility. When asked about future plans, billionaires give vague answers. We're exploring various options. We'll see what develops. These non-answers mean they can't be held accountable later if plans change. Saying less also prevents giving competitors information. Every detail you reveal is intelligence for enemies. Elon Musk tweets constantly, but rarely reveals actual technical details or specific plans. He creates buzz while saying less than it seems. In negotiations, saying less is enormously powerful. Whoever speaks first often loses. Whoever fills silence with nervous chatter reveals their position. Billionaires are comfortable with silence. They ask a question and wait. The other party, uncomfortable, starts talking and reveals more than intended. Mark Cuban uses silence in Shark Tank negotiations. He'll make an offer and go completely silent. The entrepreneur, nervous, will often negotiate against themselves, offering better terms than Cuban demanded, just to fill the silence. The sophisticated application: make your words scarce and therefore valuable. If you're constantly available for comment, your words become cheap. But if you're selective, only speaking when you have something important, your words become events. The dark side. Strategic silence can make you seem aloof or arrogant. People interpret silence as superiority. Your employees might feel you're not communicative enough. And there's internal struggle. Humans want to be understood. Law 4 requires suppressing that instinct. But the power dynamics are real. Whoever talks more has less power. Whoever explains is defending. Whoever remains silent controls the frame. Better to be misunderstood than say too much. Better to be mysterious than completely known. That's Law 4. Law 48. Assume formlessness. Green's final law: by taking a shape, by having a visible plan, you open yourself to attack. Instead, keep yourself adaptable and on the move. Accept that nothing is certain. The best way to protect yourself is to be as fluid and formless as water. This is the most sophisticated law, separating good strategists from billionaire-level operators. Jeff Bezos built Amazon without fixed form. When people asked, "What is Amazon?" the answer kept changing. Bookstore, everything store, marketplace, cloud computing, streaming, logistics, all of these and more simultaneously. By remaining formless, Amazon could expand into any profitable category without being constrained by identity. If Amazon had committed to being the world's best bookstore, it would have limited growth. By staying formless, it became whatever it needed to be. Competitors couldn't pin Amazon down. Regulators couldn't categorize it. Investors couldn't predict it. The formlessness was strategic advantage. Elon Musk operates the same way. He's simultaneously running Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, Boring Company, and X. By remaining formless across multiple ventures, he can't be attacked effectively in any single domain. If Tesla struggles, SpaceX success maintains his reputation. Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway's structure is intentionally formless. It's not a traditional conglomerate, not a private equity firm, not a holding company. It's all and none simultaneously. This formlessness allows Berkshire to do deals other companies can't. The deeper insight: formlessness isn't chaos. It's intentional strategic ambiguity. You have clear objectives, wealth accumulation, market dominance, but you don't commit to fixed methods or structures that would constrain options. Traditional corporations have org charts, defined business models, strategic plans that lock them in. That form makes them predictable. Formlessness prevents that. Richard Branson can start Virgin Galactic, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Hotels, without explaining how they fit together. The brand is formless enough to stretch across industries. The sophisticated play is using formlessness to avoid regulation. If regulators can't define what your company is, they struggle to regulate it. Facebook/Meta has used this brilliantly. Is it a media company? Technology company? Social network? The formlessness makes regulatory action difficult. Cryptocurrency billionaires understand Law 48 deeply. Is Bitcoin a currency? Commodity? Security? The formlessness has protected crypto from clear regulation for over a decade. But Law 48 also applies personally. Billionaires resist being defined. Are they entrepreneurs? Investors? Philanthropists? They're all and none. The formlessness makes them unpredictable and therefore more powerful. The dark side is exhausting complexity. Maintaining formlessness requires constant adaptation, never settling into comfortable routines. You can't automate or systematize when you're intentionally formless. And formlessness frustrates everyone. Employees want clear direction. Investors want predictable strategy. Customers want to understand what you stand for. But despite the costs, Law 48 is perhaps most important for long-term wealth preservation. Every billionaire who committed to fixed form eventually got disrupted. Kodak committed to film, Blockbuster to retail stores, Nokia to hardware. Their fixed forms became their graves. The billionaires who stayed formless, Bezos, Musk, Branson, adapted and remained dominant. In a rapidly changing world, fixed form is death. Formlessness is survival. Here's what separates billionaires from people who just read the book. Billionaires use these laws in combination, not isolation. Watch how this played out with Facebook's dominance. Zuckerberg used Law 6 to build Facebook into a cultural phenomenon. He used Law 3 to conceal that Facebook was actually an advertising surveillance business until the user base was too large to leave. He used Law 15 to crush competitors like MySpace completely. He used Law 28 to make bold moves, like acquiring Instagram and WhatsApp before they became threats. He used Law 33 to understand that users' desire for social validation was the thumbscrew he could turn forever. He used Law 4 to say as little as possible during congressional testimony. And he used Law 48 to keep Facebook's form ambiguous. The laws work together as a system. Master one law and you gain an advantage. Master several and you gain compounding advantages. Master all 7 and you become nearly unstoppable.
But here's the critical caveat.
These laws are amoral tools. They can be used to build incredible value or to manipulate and destroy. The laws themselves don't have ethics. You bring the ethics. Robert Greene makes this clear. These are observations of how power works, not prescriptions for how you should behave. The laws describe reality, not morality. Every billionaire who's mastered these laws has made ethical choices about how to deploy them. Some chose ruthlessness and paid the price in reputation. Others maintained ethical boundaries and built empires without becoming monsters. The question isn't whether you should learn these laws. If you want to build serious wealth, you need to understand how power works. The question is, how will you deploy them? What boundaries will you maintain? Where's your line? Mastering these 7 laws comes at a cost. You will sacrifice normal relationships. You will be misunderstood. You will be criticized. You will make enemies. You will feel alone, even when surrounded by people. Law 6 means you're always performing. Law 3 means you're always concealing. Law 15 means you're creating permanent enemies. Law 28 means you're living with constant high-stakes risk. Law 33 means you're always analyzing and never just connecting. Law 4 means you're deliberately creating distance. Law 48 means you never get to settle into comfortable identity. This is the billionaire's burden. The same laws that build empires destroy normal human experience. You can't be fully known because Law 3 requires concealment. You can't be fully relaxed because Law 6 requires constant attention management. You can't have peers because Law 15 requires crushing competitors. You can't be cautious because Law 28 requires boldness. You can't have innocent relationships because Law 33 requires seeing vulnerabilities. You can't be open because Law 4 requires silence. You can't have fixed identity because Law 48 requires formlessness. Many billionaires end up deeply lonely, divorced multiple times, estranged from children, questioning whether the wealth was worth the sacrifice. The laws work, but they exact a price. And here's the ultimate irony. You can master all 7 laws, build billions, dominate your industry, and still feel empty. Because these laws are about power and wealth accumulation, not meaning or fulfillment. They're tools for winning the game, but they don't tell you if the game is worth winning. You now know which laws billionaires actually use and how they use them. You understand the mechanics of power at the highest levels. You see how empires are built. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? You can put this on a shelf and go back to conventional advice about working hard and being nice. That's safe. That's comfortable. That's also unlikely to make you wealthy. Or you can start applying these laws strategically, not all at once, not recklessly, but deliberately and intelligently, with clear ethical boundaries. Start with Law 6. Figure out how to court attention in your industry. Then add Law 3. Learn to conceal your intentions until you're strong enough. Add Law 4. Practice saying less. Then, when ready, study the others. But understand, once you start using these laws, you can't fully go back. You'll see power dynamics everywhere. You'll understand manipulation when others deploy it. You'll recognize the game. And you'll have to decide every single day how you want to play. The billionaires made their choice. They chose wealth over popularity, power over being liked, strategic advantage over transparency. They paid the price and got the results. Now you have to make your choice. The laws are here. The examples are clear. The path is visible. The only question remaining is, how far are you willing to go?